We're back again. Well, not back again, really. Welcome to yet another video here on Platt's Poetry. Remember again, guys, I'm Dominic Platt, leader, creator, founder of this wonderful institution that is Platt's Poetry. And this is Poetry Week 2021, joined with the release of the book A Poetic Dance, available on Amazon, starting December 13th, if all goes well. So this video is a Q&A. I asked members of my launch team to provide me with questions relating to the book or otherwise, and I received 8 questions that I'm going to answer as clearly and as wonderfully as I possibly can. If you notice, well, if you watched the previous video, if you watched the overview video, I have changed a bit of things about the view because it kept focusing in and out. But like, we're gonna keep the overview there because most of it is good, but like, we're gonna try and see if we can get the focusing down for this one, right? So the question, we got questions from Tyreek Art, we got question from Johnny Brown, we got questions from Timothy, and well, we're calling Timmy, and then we got questions from, I don't want to pronounce her name wrong, so we're going to use her at, because I don't like pronouncing anyone's name wrong. So super_blessed21 on Twitter, my friend, who also writes excellent poems. Okay, first question. Am I speaking loud enough? I don't want to be too loud, the echoes. Which poem did resonate with me the most? This question from Tyreek. Okay, so each poem resonates with me on a day-to-day basis. It's really based on how I feel that day. And really, most of the poems that resonate with me, well, the one that resonates with me most is in a themed waltz section of the book. This is the section of the book, a themed waltz. And in this section, the first poem in the section is titled Was. It comments on the depth of a romantic entanglement. You know, so the poem starts with it is love, and then it ends with it was love. It's a very lovely poem. Let me read a bit of an excerpt. Romance is consuming, addictive, makes some obsessive. Romantic love, once lust has fallen, is unavoidably permanent. Yes, so that's just the excerpt from it. It's a wonderful poem. It resonates with me the most of all the poems in this book sometimes, on most days, but there are some days where my favorite poem in there is insecurity, and then there are other days where my favorite poem in there is paradox, and then there are other days where my favorite poem is my muse, and then there are other days where the poem that just resonates with me is stunning, you know? Or the poem about which is worse. Which is worse is a fun poem. All right, so which poem you felt tested your creativity the most? That second question from Tyreek. Which poem tested my creativity the most? Well, I'm reading this poem this week. It's in the colored section. So I have an issue describing things I did not see. So I need to see things to describe them. So the entire colored section of the book, I was making up things in my head. I wasn't describing anything that I've seen. So this section was the hardest to write. However, the hardest poem, the poem that challenged my creativity the most in the colored section would be the poem about the color red. It is called The Spartan General. I'll be reading it this week, so don't worry. The Spartan General, that challenged my creativity the most. It is a narrative poem about a Spartan general that is healing from a wound that he received on the battlefield, and then he's watching all these people die around him. So that really challenged my creativity because I had to be descriptive in a narrative way in poetry. And the next one that challenged me the most would be Blue, which is Shapeshifter, but we're not reading that one today. So the next question, what is the greatest quality about your poems? From Johnny Brown, my friend. All right, so greatest quality. Let's think about this. Pause, guys. Let's pause. Let's pause for a moment and think. Okay. I can't say I'm creative. That's generic. What should I say, guys? What should I say? The greatest quality about my poetry is that I put my own spin on it. I add a little plait into everything I do. Now, everyone, my friends know that when I say a little plait, it means I add a little bit of myself into everything I do, but I'm pretty sure PLAT actually stands for perfectly lovable, amazingly talented and tough. That's why here at Plat's Poetry we say that all poems are perfectly lovable, crafted with amazing talent from the tough realities of life. But really, the greatest quality about my poems is that they are versatile. There is no poem that is the same. Even the love poems are not the same because they're about, so their versatility is really one of my greatest qualities when it comes to my poems. No two poems are the same, no two poems have repetition of the same ideology or theme. Each poem is different in its own unique way, so the poetry is unique. I guess that's the word I will use, even though it's not as extravagant as saying something like it's about the poems have a plaited nature to them, because they do have a plaited nature to them, but really the plaited nature makes them unique. The next question is, what is your favorite poem and why? Okay, so resonated and favorite. Two different words. Okay, resonate would be something that you associate with, I think. And favorite is something that you just like, even though you don't associate with it. I think that's what Anyway, so my favorite poem, apart from the one that resonates with me, which I would say my favorite poem is in the Cupid's Tango section. And it would be between Paradox, My Muse, and Insecurity. So let me explain each one. Paradox is about a very wonderful young lady whom I wished to know, who I wished to write a poem about her that is as beautiful as she is, but I didn't know who she is, and I didn't want to tell her that she's beautiful, because telling her that she's beautiful, which would be redundant, because I'm pretty sure she already knew she's beautiful. So I wanted to know her more so I could write a poem as beautiful as she is. So what I did was I made it a paradox. It says, I can write a poem about how beautiful you are, right? But at the end of the poem it says, but I can't because I don't know who you are. So it's like a paradox. He's like, I can write a poem about your beauty, but I don't know you, so I really can't write a poem about your beauty. The next poem that would be my favorite in this section is My Muse. This is about a different young lady who brought great peace to thine life, my life. So she got this poem, it's My Muse. It's my favorite mostly because of the descriptions within it. I really went heavy on the descriptions here. Yes, so, and then my next one would be Insecurity. Yes, these are my top 3. I have a top 5, but these are my top 3. So Insecurity. This poem is a trick, because it's not about insecurity at all. It presents itself to be about insecurity, but it's not. Really, in this poem, I'm saying that I'm better than everyone else and you should pick me. Like a pick me. You know, those pick me's, you know, simp life, but it's not really simp life. Anyways. So those are my 3 favorite poems in the book. My other 2 in the top 5 are Mi Amor, and one of the poem, Mi Amor and Was. They're not in order, by the way, so don't try to say which one is on order or not. Alright. Next question. When did you start writing? This is from super_blessed21. I don't want to pronounce her name wrong, which is why we're saying at super_blessed21 on Twitter. Yes, when did I start writing? I wrote started my first book on December 14th, 2015. I wrote my first poem on December 20th, 2015. So December 14th, 2015 and December 20th, 2015 were the first days I wrote a poem or a book within that week, which is why it's all Poetry Week, you know. It commemorates this will be the 5 plus 6 is 11. Yeah, so it's going to be the sixth year of writing poems. That's when I started writing poetry. Yeah. She asked when, she didn't ask why I started, so I get away with that. I don't need to go over and elaborate why I started. So the next question from Miss at Superblessed21 on Twitter is, were they all inspired by the same person? Well, I kind of answered that in number 5. Well, did I? Yeah, I answered that in number 4. Yes, number 4. I skipped the question, by the way. I skipped over it entirely. Okay. So, not all poems are written about the same person. However, in the acknowledgement, it does credit one person because they inspired a lot of the poems in here. But not all poems are written about the same person. For instance, in the Cupid section, there are at least at least 2 different sections, and then then there are 2 poems about Zendaya. So they're not all written about the same person. Some of them aren't even written about a person. Some of them are written about someone I completely made up in my head, like the poem Mi Amor. That is a completely made up person that I wrote that about. Made up entirely. Some of them is just made up poems. Alright, the question I skipped. What inspired you to write poems? So, I draw inspiration from many things. I draw inspiration from the sounds of the outside, the colors of a place, the way sun shines in the morning as you wake up and it embraces the room. I draw poems, I draw inspiration from the way that people interact with each other, the way that people glide along the floors of a room. I draw inspiration from the woman I find attractive. Like there was one time where I was in a bus and I saw a rather beautiful young woman, and I was so beautiful. I just wrote a poem for her right then and there. It didn't take long, you know. So, and then I'm inspired by the traumas of life, the strife of life, the struggles of life. Like online school is a very big struggle. Online school is a struggle, guys. Do not take it for granted. You know, we should all get vaccinated. I should say, get vaccinated so we can get back to normal. Yes, I said it. So, that is an inspiration. I draw inspiration from everywhere, but my greatest inspiration comes from my brain. Really, sir? Really? Okay, my greatest inspiration comes from my brain. My brain is always trying to make up stories and make up things. From when I was a child, I loved to make up lots of magic things. Lots of magic things. I love making up things from the top of my head. Stories. I love telling stories. So my brain is very active in that. Last question. Wow. High pitch much. The last question in this little mini Q&A video. It is it available as an ebook? This question comes from me. I realized that in the overview I did not mention it's paperback only. At the moment, it's not available on ebook. I may make it available for ebook in the future, but it's not that it's hard to make something available for ebook. It's just that I have to reformat it because I tried to do the convert to ebook thing and it didn't look pretty, and I like when things look pretty. So, and I don't have time to sit down and reformat something for an ebook. So, until I have the time to make it look pretty, no ebook. It's paperback. That's why the pricing is like that, you know. And that will finish our Q&A section of this Poetry Week. I hope that Poetry Week is going well for you. I have lots of poems planned for Poetry Week. I don't know what they are posting in this Q&A, but there are lots of questions. There are lots of poems planned for Poetry Week, and you should be excited because we have special guests as well. Special guests. Members of the launch team are going to be posting with me in this Poetry Week. So awkward exit out of frame later.